We are ready. Well, Marisol, we are very excited to have you here in Las Vegas, that you came all the way from where? Just so everyone knows.
Puerto Rico.
From Puerto Rico. You came from Puerto Rico to have this conversation, and we're going to touch on a lot of topics. We have all day. Maybe we're going to be here for 5 hours, maybe an hour. We're going to see where the conversation takes us. But first, to get in, I want those of you who are not on your team, which is a big team, Double Diamond, but those who are not on your team can understand a little bit more of your history with Unicity. When was the month that you started with the products, or the year?
Well, look, I actually started in July 2019, right? Let's say 4 years. I started with the formulations because I was obese. I was feeling pretty bad with all the sore joints, a problem I had with my knee. I was limping. And at that moment, they told me that I had to get a prosthesis. And I said, no, I am going to lose weight. 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 I'm going to lose weight, do other things so I don't have to get a prosthesis. I've been a stylist for 30 years, and for all those years of being on my feet and that kind of work, one tends to get very swollen. I know the formulations. John Paradiso tells me all about the formulation of the company's various products. I started and quickly began to get less inflammation, to notice changes in my mood, menopause, which was also attacking me a lot. And all my clients started to see those changes in the salon just by me preparing my products without any intention of selling
Were
them.
you already a distributor? I wasn't a distributor. I wasn't a client yet, but recommending someone else. That's right.
Well, people saw me and asked me, what are you drinking? And I said, well, look, I'm taking this. It helps me with this. Yes, you can't tell. And then people started to say, well, I want it. So every Monday I went to Unicity. I was looking for the purchases of the customers. My daughter started using it. My owner's technique started using it. Everybody in the salon started using it. Everybody in the life salon started using it. Life salon started using it. And so it was like all the time, it was like this happiness and this excitement of talking about what we were taking. What's going on? About 4 months later, one day I was in the office taking a training, and I found out that a CEO was coming to give a method. A CEO was coming to give a method. And I said, a method. And you had to pay $200 for the method. And I said, one method. And I told my daughter, a method. That has to do with entrepreneurship, with selling, with mind, with something that works for me, what I always do all the time with my work.
You were thinking about it downstairs for beauty.
Exactly, for my boutique as an entrepreneur. I want to know what that is, what that gentleman is going to give here. And then today I heard from you too that you were going to give something else. And if you came in, I said to my daughter, okay, today we are going to buy 5 kits for a client. So let's take the kit. Let's go in. I get Bastis for free. I get the CEOs for free, and we go in. We made the investment immediately. I took the method in the office.
And this was the one that was about 3 hours, right? In the office. I was one of the first.
Practically, yeah. I fell in love with that method. And at that time, I didn't have a hearing aid. I remember they gave us a little room with about 4 people. I think you were there. I think, yes, I was there. And you were there. And that was like going back to my childhood, because my dad practiced a lot the power of the mind. When nobody was doing those things, he would read motivational books and people would tell him he was crazy. I even saw him doing a lot of those things, and all of that kind of worked on me. It was like making a hook and saying, wait, I love this. I fell in love with that method. I made it mine. I listened to it from the very first moment. I disciplined myself to listen to it every day in the morning. Then twice a day when I was working on other things, up to 3 times a day, I put it in my beauty. I lived it in my mind.
So you are a distributor then?
So I became a distributor because I had already bought my business. I sold it quickly.
But you bought it to be in the method.
To be in the method, but I wanted to know what the method was.
And you were practicing the method 2-3 times a day, being like, yeah, the business is good. I love that aspect of it. Exactly, but still focused on beauty.
Exactly. Then you kept working it on all the people. The same customers sold because they talked about what the formulations were. Look, I got this down. Look, I feel like this. Look at the allergy I had on my skin. So I didn't even have to sell it because the people who were in the aesthetics, the people who were having their eyelashes done, were already getting up and asking about it. Were already getting up and asking, look, what are they talking about here? So I put up a showcase and people were coming. Beauty was like a community. Men came, the clients' children came, everybody came. So definitely one of the things I enjoyed the most selling was Unicity, because at that time I didn't even know what I was selling. Unicity, because at that time I hadn't even opened Pay Lotion, because that wasn't even my interest, you know. It was the method. Then I said, well, that's cool. I like what I do. Another thing that I love about Unicity is the community. That people come to be here, besides helping people. That personal growth of you working as a person, of becoming an even better person. Even better person. And then you don't get that just anywhere. That's one of the things I love about Unicity. And then I noticed that the formulation sold. I loved that people told me. I didn't feel bad anymore. I didn't limp anymore. I started to lose weight, to ride a bike, to ride a motorcycle, to go to the boats, and I said, my God, hello, it's like you saved my life. And you don't even have to sell it anymore because people start seeing you. Look, yeah, right? What did this happen to you? And what did you do it with? But it really works.
So when was the moment, Marisol, that I don't know if I stopped being like that, that's something that I like, that I enjoy, right? And that there's something about beauty? Or is this my main focus and beauty is something additional?
Something additional. Well, look, when I became Diamond, I said I was already making space. I already had 2 days of my work, no work, that I took it out to go to the office, to be there with my trainings, my sales, all my equipment. But it wasn't until I became a Diamond that I said, definitely, I have to start putting this aside, even if that's my focus. Because I have to dedicate time to my team. I have to keep training myself. I have to keep training myself, have more meetings, go to the moment that I have to travel also to keep looking for equipment and take this to the whole world. And to leave this commitment that I had emotionally tied me down, because I was emotionally tied down, because I had to be on an equal footing with everyone who sat there and bought the equipment. Everyone who sat there was buying Unicity because they were buying that emotion of my product that made everything, that gave life. But I have to confess to you that it is not until February 2024 I have a health situation and I'm at home practicing the method many times a day. One of the things that kept me focused, motivated, and with a lot of faith was when I heard, and with a lot of faith was when I listened to this method so many times, when I was going through so much pain and I knew what I wanted, and that was that when if I got up from there, I was only going to be Unicity. I'm going to be just Unicity. The beauty is behind me. That's already cut.
We're going to talk more about this because it's an important thing for everybody to understand in the context of what you have achieved in September and all this year. But first, I want to go a little bit deeper because this is something very unique. That how long did it take you from the time you bought the business to be in the method until you became a Diamond?
It took me practically 2 years and 2 or 3 months.
Yes, 2 years and 2 or 3 months, and during that time you were working full-time in beauty. Maybe at the end you were giving 2 days a week, but the other days you were working full-time in beauty. What role do you feel the time you spent in beauty played in launching Diamante?
A very important role because then I was in contact with the client all the time. That conversation I had with that client, which is like we talked about so many topics. And the topics of diets, health, beauty, looking better and feeling better, menopause, which was mentioned to me so many times when I was young. All those adult clients of mine, I did not understand what they were talking about, but later I understood them. So in that one-on-one relationship, I always sold them the experience, and they bought the product, and they were the ones who sold it to me. Because then they took it to their house. Their husband bought it at their house. Even from there came several of the most important distributors that I have right now. One of them is Julia Marcano, who many of them know, who is also a double diamond.
She came out of beauty. She came out of beauty.
And the first person who bought me was her mother. Her mother is a very serious person, a very distinguished person from the town of Jungle.
I didn't know that Julia Marcano came out of there. Yes, yes. Imagine, a double diamond.
Yes.
That maybe if you had, because when you passed the gain of like that, you were gaining more in university than in beauty.
Well, look, I remember that 3 or 4 months after being at Unicity, God told me, Marisol, did you open the pay lotion? And I said, what is that? Look at the application where you get paid. I said to my daughter, download the pay lotion. The pay lotion got stuck. It wouldn't go down. The girls didn't help in the office. When we opened the pay lotion to be heavy, there were already $3,800. And then I said, wow, $3,800, but I have made it. Because for me, it wasn't working because I was in the beauty doing what I like, talking about the topic.
That's what's working for me, but...
Exactly. It was a fun subject. It was something that I didn't spend work. On Mondays, I would go to pick up merchandise. I mean, for Zoom too, right? I was training with Jones, with Busty, plus on Mondays in person. Since I was a client, I loved the health issues because that way you can support them, talk to them better. And when the clients see that you explained it well, that you knew what you were talking about, well, that was totally more in the testimonials. And then, well, that's really where I said, wow, $3,800, that could be a savings account. Alondra, I said, every month you have to drop $1,000, $2,000, fantastic. And he didn't touch it because I had my job. But really, when I come to the first method to Las Vegas, that was about 2 years ago. That was about 2 years ago, the first method coming to Las Vegas. That fell on the 15th, one of those days that we were here. I remember, and I was with Frances Diaz in the room, and Frances said, look, they already paid, and I said, aha, let me check. When I saw I had $16,000 in that month's account, and I said, out of the $9,000 I had collected the month before, $16,000. I was like, my God, you know, if this is going to be like this is fantastic, because I live with little, really. My expenses are low, so I was like, wow, this is spectacular. I think I'm going to take more of the beauty out of myself and increasing myself more in this because I like to travel, I like to take trainings. So I kept on with the mentality that I had to separate what was that. I had to separate what that was, even if I liked it, to go even more with Unicity. But it was very important to be there working hand in hand.
Yes, and I believe that in many ways, because on one side there are always clients coming in, and from that clients are coming out. And from that are coming out feel great clients and also distributors, because after seeing that they make the products and recommend them to others, they can enter them. To others, they can enter them. So that's one aspect. And there are a lot of people that if you're in a position like that you're getting in front of new people all the time, even though you're earning more on a success. Maybe it's better to get out of there for a while, right? That goes like that. But the other advantage that I think helped you a lot is that there were so many people looking at your success in a success and thinking, look, she's doing this as part-time while she's working on a beauty. If she can do it, I can do it too. And that's so powerful that someone can see and think, wow, if Marisol can do this while working part-time at a beauty, how can I not be able to do it in my situation? That's just the way it is. So that inspires them and gets you to have more duplication when you're inviting, do what I'm doing. Exactly.
That's why I didn't run away even though I was making good money.
Yeah, there aren't many people who would be in the beauty when they see that they're charging $16,000 or more at a time.
No, but I was very focused because I said, this is the niche. This is the niche. This is where people come. I am not there yet. And that is still going on. It is done there. My distributors go there to pick up sometimes when they need something from Roche. The customers who are buying consecutively go there. So that's still the starting point for everything. People already recognize that we are there. I have a sign in front of the store now too when people walk by. They call me and say, look, here you come. I am parked here in front of a beauty shop. And I say, yes, here we have the formulations. And as to, for example, how the word spread, I give you the example of Julia Marcano's mother, who is an 80-year-old serious lady, who is not a person who talks to everyone, who is a person who has credibility in her town. Many people know her. So she saw me and she asked me, "Hey Marisol, but I see that you are not limping because you are not..." Because I was really limping, dragging my leg in the beauty. And I said, "Well, look, I'm doing this. Oh, buy them from me, I'm going to drink them." And she, being a bad drinker, she mixed everything.
Yes.
Everything. She put all the 145, the Super Beam, she put it all in the same bottle and drank it in the morning. Can you believe she bought that on a Friday? And the next Friday, the beauty was full, she comes back. She came in blind with an emotion, with a joy, talking. She is a very quiet person. Oh my God, Marisol. Look, I don't have any pain. That pain in my neck is over. Well, everyone who was there was silent. That is, he was calling the lady. She said, "Look, I'm going to keep on taking it. I don't understand how that made me so fast. It took everything away so fast. I slept. I already had insomnia. I already had a cervical pain. I made Julia crazy, calling her all day long because of the pain. She had certain things in her stomach. She had high cholesterol too. So she kept taking it and she kept telling him, 'Julia, buy me the products, give me money. Julia, buy me the products, give me money.'" I mean, it was obligatory. And she was there for a couple of years until Julia too. When she was visiting the beauty parlor, she kept on seeing me, her mother. So we convinced her and she came in.
And she came in and today to take the formulations. Another double item.
To take the formulations, and she told me that she was not going to do the business, that she could no longer do the business. She also had an apothecary in Junco. And I said, "But you can put the products in the apothecary. That sells itself, because people who are going to buy a suit, well, maybe they want to look good, to feel good with your testimony. No, I don't have time." In fact, the husband had the vision, because then he had a Zoom of diabetes. When he heard it more in the glycosylate, he went down dramatically in less than 2 months, because I told him, "Look here, give it to your husband. It's going to save his life," because he told me that the husband had about 12 glycosylated.
Yes, I remember this, that Henry was interested first and Basti Jones, they were telling me about him, but he was doing it with his wife. His wife. And now, right, it's the other way around now. It's the other way around. Well, the two of them are already fully engaged, the whole family.
But she took when she won, she came in. I helped her a lot in those beginnings with Alondra, everything. And thank God when she won the method, she couldn't go because they had a family thing. She won Panama, she couldn't go either because she had some work. But when she won Thailand, that's when I told her, "It's Thailand, you can't miss this." When she went to Thailand, that's when it clicked. She said, "No, this is something else. This is not just anything. This is something else." And that's where she makes that hookup with Julie and starts working the Abella business.
And I visited your salon, right? Sure. We went there and then we had lunch and it was such a nice, perfect day.
Spectacular.
But I want to kind of paint that picture better, because a lot of people from the United States, I imagine, are thinking of a regular salon that people go here. That's big, with 20 stylists working.
A regular salon.
Marisol's salon is small, intimate. There are 2 people there working, sometimes 1, and a waiting room. So when someone comes in, it's no way they don't see the formulations, the products, when they come in, and if someone is talking about how well they've done, everyone listens. They've done, everybody listens. That everybody listens, that's something important. So I think it is very important that, in fact, I think it would be great to give us an example of how the conversation went. When you're working with a client at the table, how did the conversation go about touching on Phil Gray and helping them say, "Okay, I want this"?
Well, look, the first thing I do is I'm always drinking Unicity in the lounge because I drink it hot in the morning, which was my first little video that I made getting it ready. And then I am almost all day long. What if the male? What if the Unimate all day long? Because it gives me gas. It doesn't let me keep my mouth shut because I'm active. I'm talking about everything that is going on. Active, I'm talking about everything. But when I feel the client, she sees me drinking, she asks me how I feel, we start to talk, and I start to tell her, no, look, I'm active, I'm talking about everything. No, look, I am taking this because I have lost weight, but with what? With this. But how do you do it? I explain how I do it, how I have worked on myself. I tell her, look, I have already done the nail technique to lower my blood glucose, cholesterol, and triglycerides. What's more, she sold it to the doctor. The doctor of my nail technique told her, honestly, I want you to sell me one of these formulations. Because you've dropped everything in a year and I'm just as fat with all these high situations, I'm still not down yet. High situations, I still haven't come down. And you, she went from glycosylated 9, got it down to 5 completely and was taken off all the meds. Off all her meds. The cholesterol, she dropped like 50 pounds. I mean, the doctor, she didn't have to sell the formulation to the doctor. Every time she went in for a checkup, hey, look, I told her with this, and the doctor didn't say anything. The last time, when she was discharged, she said, well, look, I need you to sell me that formulation. I remember that he went to the beauty parlor running, looked for a little box, and took it to the doctor, and she... to the doctor, and made her a member too. Maybe she does it from her desk. All working, my daughter, mounting eyelashes, also earns good money. While she mounts the eyelashes, she talks to the clients or... to the clients who are listening. The nail technician does the same thing, she does the same thing. It's as if she's got a lot of Unicity and the theme one is riding it because the client...
It's impossible to avoid the theme because they're taking it. They have the products they're showing results on. People are seeing it. So it's not that you're waiting for people to ask the question, but you're creating a situation where they have to ask a question. And if they don't ask a question, you can bring it up, right? Because it's so easy.
And the display case, I have a display case full of product. So when I do their hair, for example, those clients that are quiet, that I don't have a lot of confidence, when I do their hair, I intentionally flip it over. I intentionally turn it upside down and I put it. That is, I turn it over, I go back and the display case is centered there. It is inevitable that I wonder what that is. So I have everything there. I have everything from Unimate, Clean, and Matcha. I sell the probiotics very well, Omega. I sell everything, Super Green, Unfortify, everything.
It's so important that people listen to this because a lot of people say, well, I want to do the same thing, but nobody asked me the question of formulations. But they have to see what you're doing to create the situation that it's impossible not to ask the question.
Intentional, you have to be intentional. You have to seize the moment, and if someone tells you that something hurts, I have the solution for that problem. I want to tell you an anecdote at the airport. On this trip to Puerto Rico, well, obviously, I think that people see me. I look quite young. They see me in a wheelchair. They see me with this thing I have on, and it makes them curious. This guy who was the assistant to enter the plane had a little while there, and he took me to the bathroom and so on. Took me to the bathroom and that, and he said to me, Ma'am, I have to ask you something. You are a very beautiful woman. What happened to you? Why are you like that? And I told him, well, look, I had a health situation, but I'm fine. But are you going to Las Vegas alone? You walk alone like this. And I said, yes, I am going to Las Vegas, but you are going there to take him for a walk. And I said, no, I'm going for an interview. But a job interview, I said, no, an interview I won from my company. And I'm going with everything paid for, with everything, and they're going to pick me up. And I go alone because I'm going to be fine. And he says to me, but... Then he asks me another question, and I say, no, I arrived from the Dominican Republic on Sunday, and I'm going to pick me up. From the Dominican Republic on Sunday, and I traveled accompanied. But because he asked me something about him, so I was very
And you were
upset, sat
standing.
down.
You were in the middle of Voss.
And then he says to me, oh, forgive me, because I have a tremendous curiosity. Because I was making him curious, I didn't tell him what it was. Forgive me, but I want to know what you work in. And I tell you, I work with a company of products that are designed for metabolic health. Oh, and what are those products? I opened my wallet and gave him an image balance and explained to him what the formulation was, but this is like going for life. And I said, no, this is for health. This is not for weight loss. This is not for you not to eat or to reduce calories. No, this is for health. This is for health. And I explained to him how to take it, everything. He said, and how do you do this? Me. Well, this is like an office that you have on the phone. I've been at home for 8 months. I'm working from home. The interview I just won, I won it, and I recruited 10 distributors in 1 month. But you're a tough one. But how is that? Where can I get that in Puerto Rico? And calm down. I'm going to give you the link now. I'm going to give you the link. But look, I work at the airport. I have a part-time job, and I sell plans by myself. But look, I love it. I am a young man who wants to start a business. And you just told me that with this formulation, you have traveled all that and that you work from home. No, then I explained to him where I was in the office. I gave him the link. I shared with him Yell Hidden because he was in order to work. He shared with me his phone number, and I shared with him we have been writing. I sent him everything, and when I get to Puerto Rico, I'm going to take him to the office. I believed in curiosity, and he said to me, do you know all the people I can sell that to? Do you know all the women in this airport who are sick? My co-workers?
I've been to that airport many times, all of them.
And he told me like this, and I said, here I have another prospect that is going to impact world life. Because that's where everybody goes, where people come in, go out.
I love it when he asked her if this was Herbalex and she says, no, this is about health. What a powerful answer. That's not about losing weight. Imagine saying that when you've lost weight, right? But to be able to tell them that's not just something to lose weight, that's for working on metabolic health. Because if we fix this, everything else is solved. Everything else is solved. That's how it is. So when we went to Japan last year, you were recognized, Ruby, right? And you moved to Japan and we saw the boom that happened in Puerto Rico of this trip during the whole winter, Christmas, January, February, March, and that launched you fully. Diamond qualified for the trip that we took in Hawaii, but you couldn't be with us. Hawaii, but you couldn't be with us, and you can decide how much grain you want to go. But if you can share a little bit of what happened, why you couldn't be in Hawaii, and how you were feeling it during all of this.
Well, look, I'm going to share with you from when I was in Sapphire that I wanted to be Ruben. That I wanted to go to the next level. I never stopped insisting. Those key people that you know can do it, I never stopped insisting. They tell me no, and I go back again, and I explain, and I go back again, and I tell them. Because sometimes when especially the ones who are like me, who have a job, I don't want to go to the next level. Like me, who have a job, who are well off, you say, why do I want more? I mean, if I am well, I am comfortable, I have a good job, I am well occupied, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? And when I know that the person has potential, I insist, right? And at that moment, I would say, I remember that Jones also worked us a lot with the mind. I like that a lot, and he is strong. And I started to write about Ruby on the fridge in the bathroom. I had a little ruby stone in my wallet. Luzmar gave me a crown with ruby in the middle, and I started to see it everywhere. And I said, my God, send me the right people. I need the right people to take this team forward. And then there I was, thank God. I jumped. I quickly did 1 month of Ruby, 1 month only, and the next month I was Diamond. That's what happened.
Yes, and there is so much that we can talk about just that little thing, like so much of putting the ruby and remembering you at all times. And I would say not so much in essence because we have the method, we are focused on those things. But in life, when someone is facing obstacles to their goal, they want to avoid reminders of the goal because it reminds them that they haven't earned it or they are failing. But we really decide yes or yes, let's go for this. And I'm going to think about it in every moment so that I'm visualizing in every moment how it's going to be on the stage in Japan being recognized, the ruby and stuff. And I also love to say when I know someone has potential, I insist. How many invitations have you made to some people before they decided to enter?
Many, many. From the best, for example, from my best distributor, I insisted a lot until they saw the click. And if you knew that many times, one of them, for example, I told her many times, she took the formulas. And it wasn't until she saw another person that she knew that she saw her every day because she was raising other beauty products. And it wasn't until she saw this person say in a Zoom that she had won the trip to Japan and that she was earning $5,000 a month. And that person alone had been with the company for 4 or 5 months. So there she finished watching that Zoom and she called me and told me,
Yes.
I was faithful, my friend. I was faithful because God knows you have been insisting on me for a long time. The other person also told me and I said, no, I enter the company. I enter with this person because she has always been there with me, there behind me, following me up with the formulations, how I am doing, all of me insisting. But it wasn't when she saw that she said, definitely, really, I'm losing everything.
And how do you manage to insist and invite without damaging the relationship, without annoying?
Molestar.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of people worry about. They're making an invitation, simple, the person doesn't interest me, and I can't touch the subject anymore. So tell us, how do you invite without bothering?
Well, look, for example, I'm going to explain to you that I was very insistent with this person. She has a business, so I did not let her receive the formulation by mail. I would go and deliver it to her personally. Every month I saw her. She did business too, other types of business. And I always told her, and she always asked me her little question, but no, I can't. I have a lot of things I can't. I really can't. I am very busy. I really can't. I am very busy, and I think you can do it because look, I'm also doing 20 things at the same time, but I love this. It makes me do the work more mentally than physically, right? And I'm going to show you my pay lotion, and I'm going to show you the presidential bonus I earned last month. I'm going to show you pictures, for example, from the Dominican Republic. I showed him my recognition, the party. And I showed him the pay lotion because I was a merchant. And the husband looked over and said to you, are you wasting your time? He just stood there. Then I saw her about 3 months later. I came back and showed her. I showed her pictures from Japan too. Subtly, because sometimes there are people who don't like it when you hug them too much, because then you break the relationship, you damage it. It always has to be like something subtle, right? When he asks you, look, I say, I told you with Unicity, oh girl, but I have a lot of excuses. That in these moments I give a lecture because if I were to give excuses, I would have them all. And that was not the case.
And I think that another very important thing is that you managed to communicate that I am inviting you. Yes, I know that I will benefit as long as I do, but I am not doing it just so that I can win. It's because I've seen how that has changed my life. I see the potential in you of what you are capable of doing, and I want you to have this opportunity. I invite for them, not for me. And when people feel this, it doesn't bother them, even if they don't care, because they feel that. They don't care because they feel that. No, I don't have time, Marisol, but they say, it's okay. I know that someday you're going to do it, because I know that you see the potential. And you're going to want what I'm doing. And there you keep remembering, showing the photos. Yeah, I love that. So you spent a month as a ruby, you jumped all at once to diamond, and we're coming up on like February time.
And already, exactly, I finished my diamond. It was October, November, December. We entered January and we started double diamond. I remember the month that was February, March. In March, I finished my 3rd month of double diamond. I was already at home going through the situation, right? And I was like, wow, this has to be done. I worked from home. I didn't tell anyone what was going on. I was very excited to talk to them on the phone, and only a few people knew what was happening to me. When people found out, they said, but you were talking to me all the time. In other words, business went on as usual. People would pick up at the salon. When there were deliveries to be made, I sent others to make the deliveries. And in my team, I always said, I'm here, but I'm here for you. And I gave them tools to keep working. And very important, to connect to Zoom so that the trainings and your team can see that you are here for them. And for your team to see that you are connected there even though I was sick, but I was for them. They can't say I wasn't there for them, but I was always there and I'm here. Basti and I had my back too. Whatever I needed, Marisol, you can call me. I also, when I had some situations, they went to the office and solved them there with Angeli too. Everybody did their job and the team continued to work well. When I was at home, we also did an event in Mayagüez for the people of Mayagüez. Bastillo and I went and supported me. I was not there, but I provided the place for all of them. I gave them the tools to continue developing.
And after your accident and the health situation, how many months did you spend at home, in bed mostly?
Everything started in February. Already in March, I was in bed. I spent March, April, May, almost June. I could hardly get out of bed. They had to clean everything, but I was strengthened. It was in those moments when I listened to the method the most. I flew and worked with the method because I listened to it. I saw it as a business, but I saw it as personal. In other words, I managed it in both ways, business and personal. I saw myself running. I saw myself all the time. I talked to myself too. I read many books, which is why I also decided to read the book by Camilo Cruz de la Vaca. That is, if you have read it. He recommended it to me and I read it. And that is where I also decided that when I recovered, I was going to go to the beauty seat. I was going to go to the beauty seat. I have an office at the beauty seat. I'm going to go and talk to my clients and everything, but we are already with other employees. I will go from time to time, but obviously yes, because I will be there from there, but I will not be dedicated as such full time, but very little, but I will be there. Time, but very little, but I will be there. Mm-hmm. And obviously because it was time to beat the cow. That which tied me sentimentally, I had already grown in another way, and I had to continue developing myself. So even the health situation, I took it as if God had sent it to me so that I could make the decision. Because the book says that you have to cut it off at once. Because if we keep putting it off, not for this, not for that, not for the other. Actually, if this was what I liked, this was what I was waiting for in my life, I had already asked for it, I already had it. I had to keep working, developing it. Well, that's where I decide when I get back on my feet, I'm going to do Unicity full time, I'm going to travel, I'm going to do things. And I haven't stopped with my cart, and we went to the Dominican Republic, which was a success, a huge success. I took my team of about 7. We had meetings at the hotel too. We had people coming in. The truth is that it was a nice time because I was able to support those distributors of mine who were going to... I invited them. I told them, let's go over there. Because if you have people, let's go there so that you can support the people from there. And we think that every month we are going to go once a month to continue looking for people from the Dominican Republic and have small meetings to keep moving those circles. Because we think that the Dominican Republic promises a lot because people like to work, they like to improve themselves, they like to go for more. They don't like to stay there hoping that they won't keep anyone there. We are very excited with the work of the Dominican Republic, Thailand. I could not miss it. I prayed to God to give me, because in Hawaii I couldn't, because in April I was in bed. I saw them on Zoom, I enjoyed them on Zoom, but I asked God that for the next one I could be there. And I think my mental attitude when the doctor told me, okay, there is a situation that I still have to face. Okay, there is a situation that we cannot medicate you yet, but you have to get out of bed even if it hurts. Take a walker and start walking because otherwise you are going to stay there bedridden. I said, okay, that's what I needed. Exactly. I came back from the doctor and asked for a walker at home, and the walker hurt me a lot. I couldn't do much balance. I cried, but I got up with pain and I kept on going. And I realized that lifting my walk was strengthening me. It was taking away my pain. Then with the support of the doctors, Unimate, Maca at Joy Mobility, all the mixtures that Jones gave me to do with Bon Fortify were my medication. Because pain meds, I'm allergic to aspirin and anti-inflammatories. Well, they're basically those. So I couldn't take that, and they were giving me a lot of pain medication, and it lacerated my stomach. I mean, that was horrible. With the probiotics here from the company, I really drank almost 3 probiotics. I changed from ginger to lemon because it was a little bit stronger, but really the balance, sometimes I would drink up to 3 balance because it kind of refreshed my stomach and it was really good for me. Before going to sleep, I also drank the balance. But the pain, the inflammations, the mind with the Unimate. And so I was getting up little by little, and I told the Lord, I need Him to send me a sign for me to go on the trip to Thailand. Everyone told me no. My parents told me no, that my living room was more important. Even my dad told me, you have to let go of your ego. And I said, Daddy, I don't have an ego, but I have worked for this experience that I want to live because I went there to see the diamonds, which was in 22. I went as executive director and I lived that red carpet when Jones, Wilda and Basti, that Basti paraded as a sapphire, John as a presidential and Wilda, and that was like you, those 3 Puerto Ricans there. That big emotion, it was like an I-20, and I was like, wow, now almost half of the team is there. Of the team, I'm going to go up on that stage. I have to go, but with God in front of me. The sign was that I was getting stronger and stronger. I felt better and better. I told the doctor, I'm going to throw this trip away. She said to me, do you feel? I feel fine. And I believe in my company. I mean, I will not lack anything. And really, it wasn't bad at all.
Yes, there are so many times that our loved ones, because they care about us, they worry when they see that we're stepping out of our comfort zone. But if you stay inside your comfort zone, you can't grow. So it's so important to be able to recognize, okay, I know you love me. I know you love me, and that's why you're saying that, but I'm not going to listen because I have to stay out of my comfort zone and I'm going to Thailand. Comfort zone and I'm going to Thailand. I'm going to do those things. But we talk about September because September is the reason we are here. And we entered this month of September. You had spent almost 6 months in Canada.
8 months in September, 8 months.
So you were already starting, you were getting stronger, and you were walking around in bed, but you hardly ever left the house. No, I was in the house. And I remember because it was like the end of September, and I thought who was going to be the winner. The numbers usually don't change that much at the end of the month when there's already one person ahead of the rest. But from my point of view, it was like the 3rd or 4th of October when we put the list of who the winner was. And all of a sudden I start getting calls from Basti. Sam, the list is wrong. Marisol just had a great few days, and I'm like, what do you mean? And that was during, we made some changes with Shop 2.0 and other things that caused the problems that we weren't seeing all the new distributors that you had signed up. But I want to hear from your point of view, from that day that your dad took you to the office and left you there an hour before we opened.
Oh my God, yes sir, it almost scared me. That day I had an early appointment and I wanted to go to the closed circle. And then I told him we left early and he took me to another place and the time was not running. And I said, well, nothing, take me to the office, they must be open. But I didn't know they would be a little later. And we got there from 9, 9:30 around there. And I thought they would be open at 10. And we waited, we've been waiting for like 40 minutes. And I said, Daddy, but go, because they are going to open right away. They told me they were going to open at 11. No, I'm not going to leave you here alone, and how are you going to stay here alone? And I said, no, but go, I'm going to stay. And he wouldn't leave me. Look, you're going to go to Junko now, you're going to go to bed, this and that. And besides, that day I told him about the trip, because he didn't know that I was going on the trip. I told him, Daddy, I have to tell you that I am going to Thailand. He was furious. I said, are you going to take me to the airport? No, I'm not going to take you to the airport because I'm not going to participate in this madness that you are going to do. He was in the army and he traveled to all those countries. And there he says, me, young man, on those planes, with all the fury that one had. And those trips were a killer. Imagine how you are, so many hours of travel, all that. And I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. Only at the end of all that scolding, I told him, it's okay, Daddy, I'm going to be fine. But I have to tell you that out of all those close circles, I have continued going. I even go for pong because I can't lead. There are times when my husband takes me to Plaza Centro. Another colleague, Lori, picks me up, takes me to the office to get my training. We turn around and then my brother or my mom or whoever comes to pick me up. I have been able to wait in Plaza Centro 2 and 3 in soccer because I want to be in the training and I want to show. That month of September, you know why I made all that supernatural effort? Because it was a month when there were a lot of people complaining and it gave me courage. Complaining, and it gave me courage that they were complaining while I was there, going through pain and going through all that anguish. And they had their feet fine, they had everything fine. And while I'm going through all this crisis, everybody was complaining and it made me angry. Complaining, and it gave me courage. And with that courage, I decided to work hard, and I kept calling. Many of them, I called them because they were customers who buy 10, 12, 15 from family, friends, etc. And I convinced them. But look, if you're in this, why don't you go in and destroy? And what do I know? I insisted until I made my quota. But I did it out of courage to show all the people who complained that it is possible. That I was there for a month, supposedly to slow you down. I was able to do it because I put my mind to it. Because I left the limits, because I picked up the phone, because I kept calling, bothering, making the list, checking. And I felt happy, and also I let go of that courage because I said, wow, I can do it. And the other thing I do to go to everything in Unicity, I don't care. I call, you're going there. And I even get angry when people tell me I can't because of this and this. So I'm at home, yes, I want to go. And I keep calling, look, you're going there. Even thanks to the compañeras who know who they are, they have gone to look for me at my house, who are from the street, who are from Sidra. They look for me at my house, they take me, they bring me, they leave me somewhere else. So I am very grateful, but I get there.
I hope that those who are listening, who have noticed what Marisol has just shared, because there are many people listening, are thinking, I want to be a diamante, I want to be a diamante, I want to be a diamante. Thinking, I want to be a diamond, much less a double diamond. And if they want this, but they are not going to the trainings, they are not insisting with the people, they are not being intentional and creating the curiosity and working things out while they are not going to the trainings. Curiosity and working things out while, as it says, they've got their feet right. They can lead wherever they want, alone, and they don't have the pain. So many challenges you are facing, but you don't let those be excuses. No. And that's why people trust you, Marisol. They say, I want to be on your team. I want to work with you because if you can do that, I can do that. So when people come to mind, they think, Sam, I'm not growing. My volume is not going up, but they're not attending. They're not going to the office, right? And they spend the most. They don't listen to the method. Yeah, they don't listen to the method once every day, let alone 2 or 3 when times get tough. And in spite of all that, they spend most of their time complaining that so-and-so is doing this, or I saw this post from that person, disagrees. And there's always going to be distractions. There's always going to be people who aren't doing things right, but you can't let that stop you from what you want. Because at the end of the day, we still have Puerto Rico with 99% of people not using the formulations. We have the Dominican state with almost 100% of people who don't know, same in Florida. So with just those 3 places alone, there are 100 more diamonds that are going to be produced. And how many people did you sign? Was that day you went to the office, September 30 or 29th? Or what day was it?
That was pretty much. I started about halfway through the month to follow up and convince everyone. To follow up and convince everybody and start calling the last days. I said, no, you're not leaving like that, but this and that, well, it's okay. You can continue with Anjali. That Anjali, I have to give her credit, always supports us, Carolina.
Anjali and the whole team in Puerto Rico are incredible.
Yes, exactly. But in that contact that I, please, Indito at night and all that also help us, we bother us, but we always bother us. Help us, we bother, but there is always that response from them. And I said, Anjali, help me, because I even feel some things badly. Imagine that even my left eye has lost vision and all that. And there is a medicine that I am taking that also makes my eyesight a little blurry sometimes. And me with the phone there and there, winking, doing everything. That is why I say that it is possible. That was there, the 3D. They're closing the last days. And in 5 days, I worked on it.
5 days, 10 new exteriors front line, despite all the obstacles, because it gave you the courage to see.
Of course, because we can't complain. I mean, complaining brings more complaining. I learned that with you too, who says it a lot, you know. When they tell you something, I can't join in the complaint. Oh, there are no bottles, so you send the bottle when they were missing. We can't join in the complaint.
There's a saying that they have in the Philippines that Stuart shared one day on his Facebook, Instagram, and see if I can translate it well and remember it. But it was basically like, if you want to find a way, you're going to find it. If you want to find an excuse, you're going to find it. Then, if you're looking for complaints, you're going to find more and more and more and more. That's right. If you're looking for solutions, you're going to find that too.
That's right. When some distributor talks about situations with others and that, I say, focus on the ones that are working. That one, follow up on it, but give it 20% of your time, because if not, you're going to get infected by the complaint. That's why I love to go to the trainings. That is the engine that keeps the car running. That is to give it more speed and more speed. To give it more speed and more speed. For example, right now we are working on a run that you are going to be working for 90 days to move up in rank, and I got hooked there too. And I talked to several distributors and I said, do you want to get hooked? You have to make the sacrifice of going there on Wednesdays. And work this table with Jones, with Basti, because I am going to do it too. And I already said it at home. I need Wednesdays to take me to Unicity too. Even my wife and I have had to move and also take me on the work shifts to some because I have to bother. And sometimes for something else that I also practice a lot, I tell the distributors, Puerto Ricans are like a special breed. Because in the United States, they sell very well because of the link, all that. But in Puerto Rico, it's like you have it there, give it to me, or they are like desperate. And then I have clients that, for example, even though I bought it through the link, but I give it to them personally, I have had to call everybody and bother them. I feel ashamed because I have learned in this process of my life that I cannot do everything, that I have to have patience, and that I need others, that I am not alone. And there are times when I have had to take care of my sister, my daughter, Emperador del Buti, my mom, my dad, my friendships. Can you deliver this to me in such a place? If you go to a macaque, can you deliver this to me? I mean, I had to bother, but I was able to do it. And at first it felt awful to be asking for favors, but it doesn't matter. Maybe to get the merchandise from the warehouse too, because sometimes Alondra can't do it. Some of the distributors do me the favor. I mean, I have looked for a way. I don't want excuses. I don't want excuses.
Yes. 2 more questions before the final questions. But one thing that I have seen that you have a lot of ability and that Puerto Ricans do very well, I think many people do very well. I think a lot of people would love to learn, is how you help those new distributors that come in with their business, their 10-pack, to move this product, move this inventory all at once so they see, oh wow, I was hoping that I could do this business. But now I know I can because I was able to move those packs. What are the strategies or the actions you take to help those people, even if they are shy, to be able to move this?
Well, look, being a product is the product. When you are a product, it is the product. Even if you have a health situation that you don't see, that is like losing weight, you can see it, but you can count on it. Or the people around you know that you had this, you had that, when they see that you no longer suffer from that.
And what do you do to help people who are just starting out so they don't have a story yet, but to use other people who have been a product of the product.
What we do is like their pre-sales. We help them offer the product, obviously, and if they don't know how to explain nothing, pass me the phone, we explain, we send them information. We connect them to the Tuesday Zoom, which helps us a lot. When a client is in disbelief, incredulous, and this person is just starting out and doesn't have a lot of audience experience, what I do is, share your link, share the link for Tuesday at 9 ko. It's very important for them to see exactly what the product does, basically everything. And you are also learning how to explain it to people. In other words, with one support, obviously with the Zoom, there are several things. And if he cannot support the client, we support him. I call him and explain it to him, I tell him. And they do it as pre-sales. Look, offer it to him, take it to him. And how are you going to sell it? How are you going to talk about the product? How are you going to say that this works? What emotion are you going to feel when you talk to a customer? I mean, I've always been like that. If I'm going to sell you, for example, let's say this, Unicity, but if I'm going to sell you a foundation for the face, I have to have tested it to be able to tell you that this foundation is like this, that this foundation is that it does this to the face, that it does something with the formulations. How are you going to sell this if you don't know how you feel, what you're going to do with the product? That is one of the things that is a very important requirement for me. But if they tell me that they are not interested in proving anything, I leave it there as, let me see what happens. Because if you don't trust it, you're not going to see it because you're not going to drink it.
Your whole business was based on the experience of using the products that, wow, it impacted me. So I talk about it in beauty. My customers were impacted, so they're talking about it too when the beauty comes, when they go home, and that's what they're talking about. You produced a volume of over 1 million points in a few months, exactly. So yeah, that's so fundamental that I'm going to use them from product to product. And how do you help them then to have the confidence to start contacting their acquaintances, their families, their friends?
Well, the same as always as Bastidice, you have to make the list of your closest friends, your neighbors, your family who needs the product. There is something that I have learned a lot from Basti in that sense, which is that, okay, you are looking for, look, don't you have a person who needs to lower cholesterol, triglyceride, who needs the product? Cholesterol, triglyceride, who needs something for their health. So I'm leaving you curious because the person says, and what is that? In other words, what are you going to offer that person? So you are going to tell them, and that's where the person says, and why didn't you offer it to me? And I said, no, I didn't think you needed it. I have done that to some people and it works for me. Knowing that you create the need, you create the curiosity. And obviously if you're shy and can't talk, go with the bottle.
This was 2 very important points, that there are 1 million ways to send a message or have a conversation. There is not one that is perfect. If you go looking for the perfect message or call, you're never going to find it and you're going to waste time looking for it. But if you can tailor a message, an invitation that creates the need and creates the curiosity, you're going to succeed.
That's exactly right. In fact, in Unicity, I came across it and saw it on the Thailand trip. And I was very happy because I had stopped seeing it. There's a Jones distributor who I remember in January or so I met her before I got sick. And she was as good as new. Then she signed on because her son lost weight and I think he also had cholesterol or something. And the boy made a drastic change because he was being bullied and all that. And she called me and I helped her because I left her in line at the office. And she was kind of lost because she didn't know what flavor she was going to get when they asked her. And well, that's my way every time I see her. No matter what team he is from and he is there and I see him lost, I always help him. And I told him, look, what happens is that here there is lemon unimate, jelly unimate, lemon unimate, ginger unimate. You can combine it or make it of the 2 unimates, that is 5 and 5. Yes, this is the other. So, but don't let me ask you a few questions. She's always very busy and many people ask her things, so I can't. And I sat down with her and she asked me a few questions. And I sat down with her and explained a lot of things. I told her, I am also on his team. And then I explained a lot of things about the office. We opened the office, all that. And she, oh, well, when you come, I am always there on Mondays, Thursdays. Oh, so that you can explain all that to me because I have to. She explained to me that she worked in fitness plans, but that she was a stylist in fitness plans and she was fit. She was physically very beautiful. So she said to me, and how? I told her that I was a stylist. Yes. And how do you sell that to a client? How do I sell that to a client? And I explained, look, if you are going to do her hair, if you have that client there intentionally, you are going to take your little bottle and you are going to talk to her. You're not going to talk to her about the product. You're going to talk to her about what you're talking to her about her hair. You're going to open your little bottle ready. You're going to move around. You're going to be drinking it. Because at some point, the person is going to ask you what you're drinking. And they're going to the gym too. Oh, that's a good one. You're always going to have envelopes on top of your counter and all that. And you have the testimony of your son, who already showed me a photo, which was very drastic. And she told me, oh, I like that. The thing is that when I saw her, she thanked me. She said, look, baby, that's what helped me. When she won the Thailand trip, it means she's a director. And then she thanked me, hugged me all excited, and asked me what happened to me because she hadn't seen me again and all that.
Yeah, wow. I guess you're past having won over $1 million.
Yes.
And I hope that we see a lot more stylists that are so good with people, that work so hard. In salons all over the United States, all over Latin America, there are millions. And if we can help 1,000 more to produce $1 million from university, that would make me so happy. But where do you, and what's 5 years from now, Marisol?
In 5 years, me, Global Botador.
Global Botador?
Or Royal, which is the other one over there, traveling the world. Coming much more often here to Las Vegas, this beautiful and precious office that you have here. More meetings, learning even more, traveling the world, taking the formulations to every corner of the world. The formulations to every corner of every place, of every country, because the formulations save life, change, save life in health, save life in economy. I have seen how in Unicity, people like Frances Dia Aparte, besides transforming her health, her economy, her new car, she is going to buy her own house soon. I mean, she had lost everything and she has been recovering it little by little. I really feel happy every time I see all these people doing it. Everybody does it for different purposes. I've had mine too, although I haven't bought a new truck, etc. But that's coming soon. But Unicity at the time, if I hadn't been working for Unicity, if I hadn't snatched that opportunity at the time, I wouldn't have been working for Unicity because I didn't need Unicity at the time of that, right? Okay, I take it. But financially, I was fine. My house is in living room. I've always been well organized in finance. My dad taught me to be well organized in finance. And I would have completely closed myself off. No. Opportunity. When you start to see, you say, because it's like everything else, you're not going to go in and you're going to make $1 million fast.
No.
We've all walked the path like Bastillion and John, as they themselves tell it. All the years they had to be there making the road for us. But they never gave up. You know what I mean? So that's what I also explained to my distributors. I didn't earn the first time what I'm earning now, but for me it was fantastic softly that $2,000 would fall into my account, which is like a savings plan. I said, well, as long as I keep working, my savings, be $2,000 a month there or $5,000, that's a tremendous plan. In the end, it can be a great retirement plan for me too. And I do what I like. But I have to tell you that I didn't think about a moment of such a fast growth, so much money economically. That's why when I explain to people that yes, you can, if you focus, if you really want to see. Because I focused more on what the formulation was, on what I was doing, what I liked. When I start to see the results, I say, wow. Then you say, yes, it can be done. And how do you help other people who say, look, I was earning $1,500 a month. That's what I had left over. A month, that's what I had left over. And now they have $5,000 a month. That is happiness. You see that other people can also and can have things that because of their economy, they had not been able to achieve. So you save life, you save your own. At least in my case, I saved mine, my daughter's life, my co-workers, and continue to impact my family, my friends. The group has been all that extended family of clients who are distributors. Who are distributors. Well, that's like a satisfaction, and it's a job that I like. This is not a makeup. It is not something that is fashionable. Because right now, my father always instilled in me that health is the most important thing. Because if you don't have health, you can't have money, because without health, you can't work. And I always said relax, because that should not be said. I always said, I prefer to be poor and have health, even if I say under a bridge, but feel good. But really, in these moments that I always took care of myself, it was something that happened that I was not expecting. It was not my fault. I have valued health even more, because when doctors tell me, you have to do this and this, how much does it cost? I can pay for it. No, because I need it now. And that great satisfaction that you don't know how much it costs because it is for your health. I tell the doctor, no, but wait, because that induction costs $3,000. And I tell him, I need it now. I can't wait for the medical plan to approve it. I can't wait for the medical plan to approve it. I need it now and I can pay for it. It's so satisfying. Sometimes they themselves say to me, wow, if only all patients could do that. And I have felt that I have saved my life in this situation, because I have been able to walk the steps faster, because the doctor has appointments for 8 months. The steps faster because the doctor has appointments for 8 months. But when I tell him I'm going private, the appointment comes up in 3 weeks. There is a difference, yes, but they ask you, is it with a medical plan or is it private? No, it's not private. And the appointment comes up quickly. And Unicity has helped me right now to save my life, because if I have health, I can continue working. If I don't have health, I can't keep working. With these formulations, people can't think that they are making an expense, but that they are making an investment in their health. Because as long as you have life, you have health, you can do everything. Because you might as well have it and not be able to enjoy it, not being able to go on a trip, not being able to run. The simple things in life are to open your eyes, to see the sun, to see the rain, to walk, to jump. When you don't have health, you realize that this is the most valuable thing.
Yes. I think you just answered the question that was going to be at the end, which was, what has been the greatest blessing you have received from doing university, but not directly from university? And it seems like that's what you shared about being able to handle those health things without worrying about money, without worrying about those things, and saying, I'm going to do what I have to do to heal myself and everything. But I don't know if I do anymore, like some other thing about why you made a decision a few years ago to use the formulations and then to build this yes or yes. What's another blessing and an action that's come into your life that wouldn't have been possible if you weren't doing that Unicity thing?
My body to rest my body, because I've been a slave for 30 years, I'll put it that way. I've been a slave for 30 years behind a chair. Although I love the work, I'm passionate about it. I am passionate about 2 things, doing beauty work, and I am passionate about working with women on their self-esteem, Because women are full of complexes, of competition. They are always pulling themselves, oh, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. That is a complex, that if I am obese, that if I am like this, that if I am like that. And I have really been like a psychologist for those clients, that psychologist that we can talk about. And another thing I always did in my beauty salon, I don't like gossip. In my salon, they talked about good things. I think that what they talked about, the subject vain to the artists. But there is always a rule in my salon that I don't like. And that with the employees and with everything, to talk about anyone in front of any client. Even if the client has done something ugly, I don't like them to talk either. Because then, if the one who is there is going to say, when I leave, they will burn me too. In other words, I have built a healthy environment for all that time. A nice family environment. I believe that the credibility that I gave to those clients, because of the trust that I gave them, was something that fulfilled me and that made me be there. The fact that your client calls you to tell you, look, because of what you told me, I did this and thank you. People who tell you, I really like Joel Austin. I would love to. One of the things he loves is his church, because I don't understand the Bible very much. I read it, but I don't understand it very well. But when I read his books, he has a chapter of life and a chapter of the Bible, and I like those comparisons very much. So a lot of times to my client myself, I have a lot of Joel Austin's books, and I also look him up on YouTube. And a lot of times when in the moment, I always say, look, listen to this, and have the client say to you, look, have her write to you, look, thank you, you made my day. You know that you can do it, that you are well, that you dare to do it. It's funny to me because sometimes the female employees of Amgen who were women, employees at Amgen who were economically standard women, and with their education, they would say to me, what do you think, Marisol? I want to buy an apartment in the county and my husband won't let me. He tells me no, he says no, he's afraid of that or the other. I remember that was a client of mine who in fact moved to Utah to work for Amgen there, to work at Amgen there. And then I tell her, but you want to buy it, you have the money. You guys, I have the money and I want to buy it because that's an investment. You know how much that's going to cost. I'm talking about 10 years ago. I tell him I would do it. He's not going to give you the money. I would do it, wouldn't I? I am going to do it. And afterwards, he even thanked me and really thanked me. I made that investment and I don't regret it. I mean, to my husband, no, you don't, because you didn't motivate me in any way for that. In other words, one feels happy because one has been there, even helping her in many situations that one knows she is doing well. It has been the same with the formulations. It has been able to help them in those health changes, which many of them had. But the greatest blessing has been that Unicity, because I like to help people, and because of the economic part, I have not been able to help them. And on the economic side, I don't have to be tied down, enslaved with my body behind that chair. That was easy for me to implant, that caused my knee, that maybe all these after effects of situations that I have now come from all these years of hard work, from 7 hours a.m., 7 hours a.m., 8 hours at night. I don't have to do that anymore. When I used to go on trips, I could hardly take a vacation because it had to be Saturday night. I had to be Saturday night and Monday night when I came back, something running, because I had that commitment to my client's appointment book. Not anymore, and Unicity untied me.
Yes, it gave you the freedom to...
It gave me the freedom. I feel free. And I tell my mom, I told you so many times that I loved my job. But I felt tied to a chair when I had the potential to do so many things. And my dad feels very content, very happy, because my dad has property, right? He likes the growth too. He's very happy with everything that's happening to me too. But he wanted me to leave the beauty shop a long time ago because he sees me and he tells me that you work hard, you're very late, and you don't have that need as much as you do. And he told me, I need you to come out of there to give me a hand. Because if I die, you don't even know where the key to close the water supply to the business is. Where is what? I need you to come out with me, that we do business outside of what is here, that we do a lot of things that I want to do with you. And me, Daddy, it's okay, man. What if I tell you, and him, I'm cooking and eating. I mean, I'm 70 years old, I'm 70 years old, I'm 70. I mean, I'm 70 years old, so I don't know when I'm leaving. And we have to move forward. And he was very happy because with Unicity, I am doing what he wanted me to do with him. But additionally, I have my income, and he sees me very happy with what I am doing.
Yes, because you are still doing the two things you love, right? With the formulations, working on women's beauty and self-esteem. That's right. And men, because we're lacking too.
Yes.
But being able to do it where, how, when you want to do it, and to do it on a much broader level, that you have to work on it. That you have to work it out there behind the chair, or you can work it out in all phases of life with your health, with your confidence of being a businesswoman. And this is something very special.
And to help women, for example, within the distributors. There were also housewives or people who had lost their jobs. And they made a case of me saying, don't give up, keep going, you're going to make it. Until they have already seen the fruit of their monthly salary that they have from the formulations. And I like that because they were people who had low self-esteem, who didn't know how to sell, who had never sold before, who didn't know what they were going to do. And they saw that they could. In other words, they got carried away. I always tell people, let yourself go so that you can see. In other words, don't give up. Don't give up, because there are times when things are not going to turn out the way you want them to. There will be obstacles along the way. The important thing is that you don't give up, that your mind stays focused, that you don't say no, but the excuses start. No, the excuses cannot be, because I have also struggled with that, and I quickly say, just a moment, and I will go back. That's why you always have to be reading, feeding yourself with positive things. And another thing, Sam, I also want to say that there are times when we want things to be easy and we have to make sacrifices. What has also been my sacrifice to be in Unity? Because I love what I do. Well, no more chit-chat, no more wasting time, no more conversations. I like good conversations. I don't waste time anymore. I almost don't watch TV anymore. It's all about reading a good book, having a meeting. Is to contact people who you understand can do what you are doing. And I like that. I like it more than what I was doing before.
Yes.
I always say that you have to sacrifice.
It's never going to be comfortable growing up, but it feels so much better when you've grown up.
It definitely does. The sacrifice is worth it. And I want to mention to you that my sacrifice was so much that my partner would boycott my formulations and not take them. Formulations and wouldn't take them, and he had a war with me. But I understand that it was until I saw myself evolve otherwise. So when I was in the Dominican Republic, I went there with my own will. I am a woman with my own decisions. And I said, I am not hurting anyone. I am doing something good. From all that I am earning, everybody is benefiting in my house. And I go to the Dominican Republic, and I took my suitcase and I went to the Dominican Republic. When I came back from the Dominican Republic, my house had packed up and left. Wow, and my mom didn't tell me, because I was taking the method and he didn't want me to distract my mind. And then she said to me, Yael, last day, are you talking? I told her no, because he has courage, he doesn't answer me. Well, when you get home, there is no one there. And it was painful.
That was the trip to Punta Cana.
The one we took in February last year.
Yes, that was the trip to Punta Cana that we took the method. Yes, we did the method. Exactly. Wow, the method. I didn't know that. No, that was during that trip, because you were so committed to joining and doing this. Exactly. You came back to the house and your partner was already gone. Wow.
Because he was like, you go along with this or I'm leaving. And I packed my suitcase and I said, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm doing something good, and I'm a woman who knows how to make decisions. And I said, well, nothing, even if it's difficult, I'm leaving. But then when he saw that I left, he got furious, and obviously, well, he left. He left, and it was very painful. And 10 days after coming back, after being in Puerto Rico, I called him and asked him to leave. I called him and I apologized for what I had to do, which was to take my suitcase and leave without having told him anything. But the rest was his decision, because I was not going to leave Unicity. And we spent a few months having a lot of situations, and he was trying, because he was my partner and I love him too. And I remember that he had a health situation. He had to have an emergency surgery and they couldn't do it, because he had high cholesterol, triglycerides, and sugar, because he didn't drink the medicine, because he was already suffering from that. The doctor gave him the medicine and he did not drink it. And they had to do a minor surgery quickly because of a discomfort he had. And so I went with him to that appointment. And when the doctor said, well, nothing, I have to do that in 3 months, You have to hold out for 3 more months. Go to your primary care doctor. Tell your doctor to give you medicine to lower all that, because I can't do that surgery like that. And in the parking lot, as we were in individual charges, I told him, "What are you going to do?" And he said to me, "Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do." And I told him, "Well, you have two things to do. Either you go back to the doctor and tell him to give you medication to come down, or you trust me and give the formulations a chance to work on you, so that then you can also believe in me and in the formulations." He was upset and we left. Then about a week later, he said to me, "It's okay." He did it out of pride for not going to the doctor because the doctor was going to scold him. "All right, give me the stuff." I gave him the formulation and told him how to give it to the baby. I gave him a clean too, and he did it. And he did it. He lost 45 pounds just like that. But just like that. He didn't want to eat sweets. He didn't want to eat anything. When he went to the doctor told him, "Wow, what did you do?" So he said, "No, I drank some natural medicines." And he was able to have his surgery, and then thanks to God, he started to open his mind, and little by little, and now she is promoting me. She keeps taking the formulations. She is still taking the formulations. She also delivers them to me from time to time, and she already understood that this growth was not bad, that this growth is good, that it helps many people, and that what I do is not a bad thing.
I was speechless.
I did not know if history and Basti knows it, because that day I told him, the same Sunday that we were leaving for Puerto Rico, I told him, "I just found out about this and about this, but I did not know if I could do it. About this and this."
But this part of the sacrifice, the commitment you had with yourself of, "I am going to improve my life. I found a vehicle that can take me where I want to go, and I'm going to get there." That is one part, but another part is to have compassion and humility after all this, to still not only supporting your partner, but of continuing to invite him or her. You can't get a stronger rejection that your partner is leaving, and still to re-invite them, because telling them, "I'm trying to save your life, so this is the option. Use the medication, stay the same as you've been for years, or trust me and do that test." That's it. And I see that as something so inspiring that you had the confidence to tell him this, to make the invitation. When it would be so easy to just say, "I've done a million invitations to this guy, how am I going to keep trying?" But wow, thank you, Marisol, for sharing.
Yes, even with the training sometimes, and I would put my headphones on so that it wouldn't bother him, and share with him here watching TV, the training here. When he could see my ear, I would turn up the training. He no longer has that problem, thank God. He understands me, he supports me, he understands, he benefits from all the things I can do with Unicity, right? And thank God in my house everybody supports me. My mom, my dad, my daughter Alondra, who is always supporting me too. And thank God even my boyfriend is a distributor too, so that I say, you have to be entrepreneurial here too, because you are very entrepreneurial and work in a federal job. 2, you study and you need them.
Well, just the fact that it only took you 2 and a bit years to get to Reyes de Diamante, nobody can say it was easy. No one can say there were no sacrifices. And also, I don't think anyone can say that they are not capable of doing so well if they are committed to doing so well. Well, if they commit to do the work, make the sacrifices, commit to win. So thank you very much, Marisol, for the conversation, for your example, for being a double diamond with Unicity, for coming from Las Vegas, which is right after going to the Dominican and Thailand and Vietnam, to add that other trip. I know you have another trip already.
We're going to Orlando.
We're going to Orlando right now. So thank you very much. That's going to inspire a lot of people and help them.
And I want to tell you that I am very grateful to you too. You were a person that motivated me. I remember that first meeting we went to the restaurant, that first trip to Panama. It was also something that made me realize that this is really real. The method that your dad shares with us, that's great. Every time they give it to the city 3, 4, 5 times a year, I always want to take it. And I am very grateful. I feel blessed because this way you came into my life, to save many people around me too. People around me as well. And we are still working. Next time, Ambassador, this is it.
So thank you, Marisol, and I hope you all enjoy. There you go.